Peace and Yah bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's a tree of life. He is the fountain of living waters. He is the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, I'm going to talk about the power of attachment. I'm going to talk about the vow. I'm going to talk about the Exodus, going home. I'm going to talk about choosing wives. Okay? And I'll try to get it done in 20 minutes. All righty? Now, as I have told many of you, and I will keep telling many of you who listen to these discourses about the choice of making the Aliyah and returning home to Israel, especially the gentleman. Now, ladies, it doesn't mean you have to have a male with you to return home. Okay? That you don't have to have that. You know, if you worshiping Yah and Yah's name is upon you and you calling upon his great set apart name, I mean, you can still return single. Okay? You don't have to return married. You know, there's, no such statute, okay, in the book, all right? But if a man has chosen you to be his wife and you all have made an agreement, as I've said before, you need to keep your agreement, okay? It's very important that you keep your agreement. Why? Because, you made a vow before the Holy One of Israel, Yah. When you make that vow before him, okay, he can enforce the vow. Now, here in the United States, there's nothing that can be done, because it's not a legal instrument here, okay, as far as the UCC codes are concerned, if you know what the UCC codes are, okay? So it's not a legal thing, or there's nothing that can be legal or lawfully done about these situations, if someone should make a vow, okay? And then, let's say she decides against her vow, or she doesn't want to do it, or her family members, right, try to coerce her not to keep it for one reason or another. It could be racial, it could be, anything in general, financial, whatever the case may be, okay? All right, whatever it is, because I know there are families that are definitely involved, in some of my situations I've heard, okay? There's nothing the family can actually do about it once the woman, if she's of marriageable age. The key is marriageable age. If she is of marriageable age, there's nothing the family can do about it. Marriageable age meaning 18, right? Okay? Once she reaches 18, then she can speak for herself, okay? Or she can vow herself to another man. Okay, she can do that, okay? She can vow herself to a man without her father having anything to do with it, okay? Very important to know and understand that, okay? But the power of attachment, that's what the vow is there for. It's there for us gentlemen who are going to make the Aliyah to go home. It is there for us to protect ourselves. It's kind of like a built-in insurance policy, all right, for us to be able, right, to trust these women that we're taking back to the land of Israel, okay? But in the meantime, you women, you have to keep your vow. Once you speak it out of your mouth, you must keep your vow. If you vowed yourself, basically, the vow is a betrothal. So once you betroth yourself to a male to marry him, then that's what you're supposed to do before God, the Holy One of Israel, okay? All right? And it's important that you understand that. All right? All right. Now, is it a matter that can be taken to court? No, not really. Because the UCC codes in America require you to go get a marriage license, get married by a priest, or before the justice of peace, right? Okay? In your downtown courts, whatever the case is. You go through your little ceremony, or you swear and, consummate the marriage. That's it, okay? So in the Hebrew pantheon, it's a little bit different, okay? once a male sees a female that he's interested in, right? Okay, he might start enticing her, whatever the case is. He wants to marry her or be his wife, okay, or have sex with her, same thing, right? Okay, to marry to be his wife, okay, then, he may ask, hey, take the vow, or marry me. You basically, when he's asking you to take the vow, that he's basically asking you right then and there to marry him. Or if he asks you to betroth yourself to him, even though betrothed is an engagement, and the engagement before God is the same as being married, okay? So you can't betroth yourself to a man and then go deal with other men too. Now, you're not going to be able to do that, okay? Because you're breaking the law before God, okay? You're not going to be able to do that. It's for you ladies out there. You're not going to be able to do that. So, as the book says, it's better for you not to vow than to vow and not keep it. It's better for you not to vow than to vow and not keep it. In other words, it's better for you not to accept the betrothal than to betroth yourself and not be able to keep it. Okay, in other words, you have to be true to that man, okay? You have to use discipline. All right? Like I said, if your urges, your sexual urges and passions, and they getting on you that hard, well, you need to go find that man that you're betrothed to and have sex with him before you would dare lay down with another man. Okay? It'd be better if you did that. Okay? Let's get some understanding about this process of betrothal, especially for my gentlemen out there. As you betroth these women to you, man, you better make sure you got the woman for you. Okay? And you need to do a little bit of investigation. Make sure you guys are compatible, man. Don't just betroth the woman because she's beautiful, man, because a beautiful woman doesn't mean she's for you. Okay? Because when you betroth a woman to yourself, gentlemen, you're asking her for her lifetime. I don't think these women in America understand that yet. Okay? You're asking her for her lifetime. It's a lifetime commitment. Okay? But the betrothal is just that insurance you need that keeps you until we get back home to marry that woman. Or just marry her here in the United States. Okay? However you want to do it. Okay? I would suggest you wait, you know what I mean, to get to Israel. The reason behind that is because jurisdiction. You don't want your jurisdiction to be in these courts in America underneath their legal system or UCC codes, okay? You want to marry in Israel where the law of the Torah will apply to your marriage, okay? If you marry here in the United States, then all of their law applies and their jurisdiction applies to you. But if you marry in Israel, then the law of the Torah, will apply to you. Okay? The power of attachment. Okay? The power of attachment. It's a big thing. Now, Exodus 22. We've been here a lot of times and go here again. Okay? All right? If a man entice a virgin, that right there, that word maid right there, when you look in the Hebrew, virgin, right? Okay? If a man entice a virgin that is not betrothed, you see, she's not engaged to anybody, okay? And you don't need a ring to be betrothed to your husband. Once you give your word, you are already betrothed without the ring, okay? Because we never had rings anyway back in Israel, okay? We never had that ceremony. It's basically a heathen ceremony anyway, okay? Because it's about what's in your heart that makes you betrothed, not that ring. Trust me, I know, okay? But anyway, all right. If a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. You see that? He shall surely endow her to be his wife. Okay? Now, the second clause. But this only applies, right? She's a virgin, right? If her father utterly refused to give her unto him, he should pay money according to the dowry of the virgins. Now, what this is saying right here is, obviously, he didn't hear about it. So this man, he enticed her, right? this maid. He wouldn't have had sex with her. The father probably didn't know. Okay. Once he heard about it, he was mad. Okay. So, he felt like he was damaged, right? So he wants him to pay the money, the dowry, even though he refused to give her unto him. It doesn't matter, because whenever you go to Exodus 22, you can see that he still keeps the virgin anyway. Okay? All right? But you have to be loyal, whether you're a virgin or whether you're not. The key is enticement, okay? Did he entice this woman? Okay, that's a very important fact, okay? Now, definition of entice: to attract, right? To attract or tempt by offering pleasure or advantage. That's the definition of entice, okay? All right. So if you entice these women, you know what I mean, by whatever means you may be enticing them by, then, as it says right here, especially if she's a maid or whether she's not a maid, right? Okay. If you have physical sex with that woman, then you're supposed to make her your wife. Okay? If you have sex with her. No different. In Israel, this will apply. We can't apply this in America because women have sex with all kinds of people. So, you wouldn't know who the husband is, right? So you can't apply this in America. But when we get home, all this is going to apply. What I will say, y'all may still look at it that way. Let's say I got a woman and she's betrothed unto me. Yah looks at her as being what? Engaged to me. Meaning what? She may not deal with any other men. Okay? The engagement can last however long we want it to last. And especially, but the key is, or the culmination is getting, going down the bridal path, right? That's the culmination of the whole thing, all right? But as long as she's betrothed to that gentleman, okay? For as long as they agree that they're engaged, okay? So she's not to go outside of her betrothal, okay? Whether she's a maid or not, okay? Once you betrothed her to you, well then basically it's almost really the same as being married, but it's not, you're not fully married in the United States, especially unless you go down and you go through all the proper, steps to get married, okay? So, but in Israel, man, if you just lay with a woman in Israel, y'all married, man. Yeah, that's the way it is. A lot of women don't like that. I've heard it. They don't like that. Yeah, you can't get around in Israel, man. You get yourself killed, man. I told you guys that already. All right, let me finish this up. Family vows. If a woman vow a vow unto the Lord, right, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth. Okay, so she's young, right? Okay, but she's in her father's house. Now listen, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand. So that's it. So like now with some of like the situations I've been in, there are different parents trying to intervene, this and that, or family members trying to intervene in that, man. If she's a grown woman and she not living in her father's house and she makes this vow, the vow stands. Okay? The vow stands because she made it, whether her father heard it or not. Now, if she's staying in her father's house and he hears it and he says, no, I'm not going to let you do that. Okay? See, the key is what? She's in her youth. So that father has the right to refuse. As you can see, this hooks over to the Exodus 22. That father can refuse it if he hears it, as you can see right here. Okay? If he hears her and he says, no, I don't want you to take that vow with him. You can't keep it anyway, or you're not ready to keep it. Then he can disallow it. He can like, nope, you can't do that. Okay? He has the power to do that. Okay? But only if she's in his house. Okay? In her youth. But once she's a grown woman, she answers for herself. Okay? All right? So her father can't do nothing about it. These daddies can't do nothing about it, because I've heard these things. They can't do nothing about it. Once you betroth yourself to me, then guess what? You're mine all the way up to the day you the day you leave the earth. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is the betrothal just precedes the marriage itself, okay? The betrothal is just there for the woman to promise herself to that man, especially if you're in different locations or different states, or maybe even in different countries. The betrothal is just there, to keep everything in check. So basically, you guys are just saying, hey, we're betrothed to each other to be married. You know what I mean? It's a promise to marry, the same as any other regular engagement is, okay? So, but the betrothal is a vow. So that's why I'm taking you guys here in Numbers chapter 30. That's where I'm at, okay? To see what the vow is all about, okay? All right? Now, if it's a widow, if a widow does it, then whatever the widow speaks, it stands no matter what, okay? You guys can read that yourself, all right? Whatever she speaks, it stands, okay? All right? And naturally here in Deuteronomy chapter 22, you notice it's on these 22 numbers. But anyway, same thing. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, he lays hold on her, he sleeps with her, then she becomes his wife, okay? If he lies with her, okay, and they be found, right, okay, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, right, and she shall be his wife. Because what? Because he have humbled her, he have sex with her, right? He may not put her away all his days. Now, put her away all these days is talking about only if she's a maid or she's a virgin, okay? If she's a virgin, she can't be put away, okay? She has to die off. She cannot be put away. She's a virgin. Okay, but if she's a virgin and she goes and lays with another man, then she's already violated the marriage. She's violated the vow. If she's in Israel, she'd be put to death. Okay, she wouldn't get Deuteronomy 24. Okay, let's talk about the divorce certificate and what that process is all about. Okay, so anyway, so that's that. Okay, so you can't be a virgin and then lay with the man and then go out and lay with somebody else after him. And then still talking about you're that man's wife forever. No, you're not. You violated your covenant. And you violated God's law. And you are guilty of his law. And what would happen is you'd be taken out and that man will be taken out and both of y'all be put to death, man. For real. For real. Okay? That's the law of the God Yah, the Hebrews, okay? The Holy One of Israel. In Israel, we will definitely enact that law. It will happen. So like I said, you guys got some hot pants going, you females or you gentlemen. So you got some hot pants going. You can't control yourself. If you should make it to Israel, man, and you violate somebody's wife, man, you will be killed. First day, man. Guarantee you. I'm not a joke, man. We're not here to joke with you guys about this law, man. Okay? We're not kidding about it. None whatsoever. But you gentlemen, if you should entice a woman, okay? Keyword entice. You enticed her. You talked her into it. You know what I mean? Or you talked her into a betrothal. You got to make sure you keep your, make sure you keep your word to the woman, okay? Now, you women, don't violate your betrothal. If you're betrothed to a man to marry him, which means it's just saying you promise to marry him. You promise to marry him, well, then do just that. All right? Okay? Entice, to attract or tempt by offering pleasure or advantage. Okay? Let's look a little bit more into it. The word entice means to lure or tempt someone by promising them, right, something that they like, okay? All right? So keep that in mind. This is very important as we get ready to go home, okay? All right, gentlemen? So don't entice these women sexually or entice them in some kind of way if you're not serious about marrying the woman, okay? That's a dangerous thing for you to do, all right? Entice, it's a verb. To provoke someone to do something, okay, through often, right, false or exaggerated promises or persuasion, okay? Like I tell people about the Davidic crown, because see, they entice y'all with that crown. Oh, you can wear the Davidic crown. Anybody can do it, man. Those are false and exaggerated promises, okay? So they get people to, think they can do this thing. I told you guys, Davidic crown is for me only, and my sons after me, no one else. That's that. Not going to say anything else about that. But very important, like I said, for you gentlemen, to definitely get betrothals. If you can't get any betrothals, then I would say just don't worry about it. You know, go home alone. There's nothing wrong. There's no harm in going home alone. If it should happen, then it happens. But if you can get betrothals, then get betrothals. Ladies, if you betroth yourself, or what's called engagement, if you engage yourself to a man, okay, betroth, that's what it means, right? The same as being married, basically, okay? Then you must keep your betrothal, your vow, because it is a vow, okay? All right? Now, if you break your vow, then basically it really is the same as an adultery, basically, in the land of Israel. But here in America, if you break your vow, then the man doesn't have to keep, he don't have to keep his promise to you to marry you, okay? If you break your vow. Because he don't just sit there, because that'd be like him, defiling himself, you know what I mean, going behind another man. You see what I'm saying? All right? All right? Think about that. So anyway, go look these things up, go research, go study, go pray, all right? Exodus 22, Deuteronomy 22, read these things, all right? Get you guys a Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible. Look those Hebrew words up so you can get some wise understanding, okay? Especially when you see the word made. Made means different things throughout the book, okay? Depending on what Hebrew word comes out whenever they were, translating the Bible, okay? But for the most part, in Exodus and Deuteronomy, it's talking about a virgin. Okay, a woman who's a virgin, okay? And what the rules are concerning her virginity, okay? All right? So if you catch you a virgin, which is one of the luckiest things you can do, gentlemen, if you catch you a virgin and you lay with her, she's your wife forever, okay? Forever. So if you don't want that kind of commitment, then you shouldn't get you a virgin, okay? But we know, like the Levitical priest and all them, they have to get virgins, right? So that's that, all right? So I hope you guys got some wise understanding about betrothal and what it's all about. If you betroth yourself, ladies, you better keep it. If you make a vow of betrothal, you better keep it. Don't deal with any other men, okay? All right? All right. Thank you guys for listening. Peace, and y'all bless.